Welcome to my Q&A video. I thought it was about time that I did one. I won't be able to answer all of the questions. There were over 100 of them, so, I had to cut back a bit. Also, they were a lot of repeats, so I didn't want to overlap too much. And most of them were about Bashar al-Assad of Syria anyway, so yes, I won't be answering any of those. Anyway, let's get into it. Why do I prefer Rome 1 over Medieval 2? First of all, I prefer the battles. So much quicker. Whereas in Medieval 2, the infantry can get into some much longer forms of sluggish combat. In Rome 1, they kill each other quicker, the morale breaks quicker, so it makes it much more tactical, in my opinion. Also, I like the colours. In Rome 1, it's very cartoony, a little bit goofy. Men in bright pink pyjamas, Bronze Age Egypt, the rainbow colours of Rome, red, purple, green, blue. You don't really get any of that in Medieval 2. So yeah, that's why. The colours and the battles. Do you plan to do another roleplay campaign in the future? So after Season 3? Yes, I do. I love doing the roleplay campaigns. The next one will be for Rome Total War, more than likely. I don't exactly know what faction yet, but I do want to do another there. It would be more of a single standalone series, like it won't be like a Season 1, a Season 2 sort of thing. It would be more just its own little thing after Season 3, but still like 18 to 20 episodes. But yeah, more is definitely going to come. How much money do you make from a standard video? It's difficult to tell. For every 1,000 views, I make £1. So let's say a normal AI campaign would get about 6 or 7k views. That's about £6 or £7. Let's say it took me about... An AI campaign lately would take about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours to record, so it's about £2 an hour. Not that much, vastly under minimum wage, but, sometimes every month, you might get one video that just pops, goes up to like 100k views, and then, that sort of balances it out a bit. Overall, I make enough to survive, and that's the important thing. I do this full time, I've got nothing else going on, so yeah, and I can cover that. When did you get into the Total War series? I got into it, well, I think Rome 2 was just about to release, around about there, but I actually got Rome 1 at that point. I actually got Medieval 2 Kingdoms on disc, but you needed the original, so I could never play it. I then bought Rome Total War Alexander, but again, you needed the original to play it. Back in the old days of having a disc for an expansion, times were different back then. But yeah, eventually I got Rome, and I already had Alexander. And I remember from the tutorial alone, I remember then saying that this is the best game ever. And now, about 10 years later, I still play it. Yeah, the majority of channels in Total War will fail. Unless you find a nice little niche, which I did with my time lapses, but yeah, the majority do fail. And what do you expect from your channel to look like over the next year? Any aspirations? I want to keep on going, keep on building the community up. I used to care about subscriber count and stuff like that, but I do care, but I'm not as bothered anymore. The place that I want to be at the end of this year is to make as much money as my parents, which I already probably sort of do in a way. Which, if I was to stream and have donations on, I'd do that instantly. Like, last time I started having donations on, I got a lot there. but I'd like to make that same amount just from videos alone, and not have to rely on you, the viewers, in any other way than actually having you to click on the video and watch. And I want to end this year also hopeful, knowing that something historical is coming. You know, those are the two important things. To be, you know, big enough and fine financially, but also knowing that there's a big future ahead. Why are you called Melkor? Well, I wanted a bit of a bad name, a bit of a villain sort of thing. The original plan was to go with Sauron, but somebody already had that. Then I thought about Attila, somebody already had that as well. And yeah, Melkor seemed to be the only villain that at the time no other channel had. So I thought, might as well go with it, and I do kind of like it. What are your plans for Season 3 of the roleplay campaign? The plan is to have fun and experiment a little bit with the Discord. I want to try and get the Discord involved as much as possible in the series, but you know, it can get difficult at times, especially when I wake up in the morning and there's 1,000 unread messages. Like, I can't put all of that in, I can't put every character's little storyline in there. It would take far too many hours. But yeah, I want to get them involved even more through more like focused votes and stuff like that. And I think people will be hopefully very happy with what I have planned for Season 3. And yes, if me and Legend were to have a boxing match, of course I would win, obviously. I'll kick him back to Australia in tears, yeah. Do you prefer roleplay campaigns over classic campaigns? Yes, by far, especially for recording. With a roleplay campaign, there's so much more interaction with the viewer that you don't get in a normal campaign. And it also allows you to experiment a bit more as well, and go for a more artsy approach. And also, if you make a mistake, people aren't going to start shouting at you how stupid you are. You can just say, oh yeah, the character was dumb. And yeah, that does help as well. So yeah, for several reasons, roleplay campaigns are much better. And nobody else does them as well. Not in the way that I do anyway. What inspired you to make a roleplay campaign? It was inspired by Many a True Nerd and his series. I loved that series a lot, but you know, I saw so much engagement from the community, like people creating characters in the comments. And my thought is, you know, how can I do this and create this exact same thing, but better, more in depth? And yeah, then the idea of a roleplay campaign was born. I know Legend used to do stuff, but I didn't like the style that he went with it. You know, I liked Legend, but I didn't like his roleplay campaign. You know, I felt they were missing something. And I think officially Devin does that as well, but I feel he is missing something as well. To me, it's important to still have it as a Let's Play. But he goes more for cinematics, which is good for him. I hope it works for him, but it's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to keep it Let's Play focused. If there is going to be a Medieval 3, what start date should it have? I think 1066. I think it has to be. You know, Vikings in Britain, then you've got the Normans as well and all of that, William the Conqueror. I think in Medieval 2, they could not do that. I don't think the engine was developed enough where it could have some, like, changing or swapping of a throne type of mechanic in there. However, in a Medieval 3 on a newer engine, I think they could really have a lot more fun with, like, the throne being passed around from leader to leader. And I think that's a good starting point, so yeah, 1066. I would not want to see it go far as 1212 AD though. I'd like it more in the earlier phase. What is your dream job? To do this. To be able to just do YouTube and make enough money for it where I can support myself, I can support, my parents and people in the family circle, enough money where I can, create a pension as well, stuff like that. My overall plan is to actually eventually, go into business. Maybe I can use the YouTube channel to advertise it or something. What that business will be, I don't know yet. You see it all around, like some go off to create esports teams, some create video games themselves, some create like merchandise stores, something like that. But yeah, the ideal place where I want to be on YouTube is, I wake up, I talk with my team, I record the video for that day, they handle the script, they handle the editing, I just do the talking, the easiest bit. And then I get my lunch, and then I stream for about 4 hours, and then I'm done. Like, that is my dream position, and everybody else handles all of that, and I can pay them. But for that I'm going to need to make a lot more money. Do you think Rome 3 would be a good decision by CA? Do we need a Rome 3? I think we do need a Rome 3 someday. Something to fix the scars of Rome 2, because the majority of people who say that they have left, they left with Rome 2. They were done then. So yeah, I think it needs a Rome 3 just to, heal those old wounds. But should they do it now? I don't think so. So yeah, I think it does, maybe within this decade, but not right away. I think we'll need a Medieval 3 first. What is your favourite empire in history? I like Alexander's empire, I like Napoleon's empire, but I don't like their empires. I like them. So, if we're taking that into consideration, then I guess it would be Rome. Because Alexander's empire, I don't actually like the empire, the actual management of the empire. I like Alexander, and the same with Napoleon. I like the figurehead, not the empire itself. So if I am going by empire itself, it's got to be Rome. However, I will add, the Carthaginian Empire is the most underrated empire in history. It's not my favourite, but it's heavily underrated. Which is the best Star Wars movie? 3 and 5. No other options are correct. Alright, yeah, 5. Number 5, it's got to be number 5. The Empire Strikes Back. But here's the thing, my second favourite is not number 3. It's The Phantom Menace. I love The Phantom Menace. Like, you've got to hear me out first. I have to explain my position. When I was a kid, about 8 or 9 years old when I watched it, maybe a bit older, like, I didn't care about the lightsabers. I wasn't that much into all the guns and the battles and stuff, which is odd for me. I was interested in the politics. Like, no, Qui-Gon, put your lightsaber away. I want to hear about this trade embargo. I loved that stuff so much. The trade embargoes, the corruption within the Senate, all the little dots being connected up. I loved that as a kid. I don't know why. Maybe I'm a bit weird. But yeah, Phantom Menace I definitely do like. Oh, and the Trade Confederation. How they're like, they make the droids as soldiers, but they suddenly made the switch, and they made them for their own army. Oh, I loved that political stuff there. Your opinion on the current state of Total War compared to the past? It's certainly different. I'm not gonna say I hate it. Definitely not, because there's a lot that I do really like about the newer ones that I think the older ones could have had. But then again, there's stuff that the old ones had that were far superior to the newer titles. I think what they have to do is find a middle ground between the two. Yeah, I could talk about this for hours, so I won't go into any more detail than that. Do you think you could see your channel move to the newer Total Wars if a Medieval 3 was to be released? I think that's meant to be 3, not 2. And I would say yes in a way. I think I would still cover the older stuff, because I still believe in them and want to see them get remastered. However, if there was to be a new historical title, then yeah, I think you would start to see me sort of begin to make the switch over. Actually, I don't think it would be that much different from how it is now. Right now, 50% of my channel is for classical stuff, but the other 50%, it is Rome 2, Attila, Shogun 2 content. I do upload those. Yeah, about 3 or 4 videos a week depending, so I think it would be like that. You know, once, you know, the hype of Medieval 3 has died down a bit, it's been out for a month, I think I'll do like 4 videos on that a week, and maybe 3 on Medieval 2 and Rome 1. So I won't fully go until they get remastered, but I think there'd certainly be a switch. And just to be clear, when I say that I will leave them when they get remastered, of course not on the same day that it's announced. Now, I'd still play them for years to come, but, you know, I mean, once the hype of the remasters died down, once they have been out for about a year and people have moved on, then I think I can move on. Will you do an RP series, or even just a campaign series, on other Total War games? I'll answer for an RP series, and nah, I don't think I will. And the reason being is because for an RP series, first of all, it does need to be modded. Slightly, in some areas, it does need a mod. And also to have the new unique events that you see in my other RP campaigns, I need access to the console. So I can like lift fog of war, like move troops around and stuff like that. That's how I did the Confederation mechanic in Season 2. That's how I did the Season 1 mechanic where Bommelkar crossed over the Alps. And no other title actually has that open, so yeah, it's unlikely. I might do, but I don't think it would be the same. They're just too hard to mod and they don't have a console command. So, yeah, I can't really make it unique enough. Would you ever do something other than Total War in the future? I don't think so. I did try to, like, dabble into other games lately, and it did not work. The viewers were not there, and, you know, if I really put a full year into switching up into a variety channel, I think I could do it. But here's the thing, the first 4 or 5 months, I'm going to be on very limited pay. It's basically the same as starting again, and that is something that I could not afford. So yeah, that's why I had to make the switch back to only Total War. I could not afford it in the long run. Maybe if I reach the point where I don't have to think or worry about money, then yes, I think I would do then. But for now, I don't have any plan to. And you've got to understand, I don't think I make a single video where I just play the game. You know, it's all... Usually there's a script. Usually there's a lot of heavy editing. Even in the roleplay campaigns, some parts of it are scripted. Some parts of it are edited. I work in the Discord as well to get the votes across. You know, it would take... Yeah, as I said, about a year to actually make that switch and have it so that people, you know, on the channel are enjoying it as much as they enjoy my Total War stuff. How do you like your scones? Jam with cream on top or cream with jam on top? I don't like scones, I don't like jam, and I also don't like cream. Yeah, I'm a bit of a boring eater. I'm a fussy eater, but not in a bad way. You know, I eat healthy, I get my vegetables, I get my fruit. I don't really eat sweets or fizzy drinks. You know, I eat healthy, but, you know, I am a bit of a fussy eater at the same time. Favourite Civilization game? Civ 3. It's got to be the third one, number 3. Oh, I loved that so much. Of course, that was my first Civ game, so maybe I am a little bit biased. But yeah, I love that. Civilization 3, what's it called? The Teturkan mod, I think it's called. Wow, that was a good mod. You know, that was like a real world mod. You know the Civ 5 mod with 42 factions or something and it's the full world map? It was like that, but for Civ 3. Civilization 3 just, you know, it felt realistic in a way. It had much more realism into it and I liked that. It was immersive. You know, the issue is in Civ 5, you know, you just get a few bomber planes, a few ships, a few infantry, and, you know, that's sort of it. But in Civ 3, you can stack units on top of each other. So you could have, like, you know, it's very normal that you'll have, you know, like 20 different units just charging across the border. You have a lot more units in that. And the maps were so much bigger, so many more settlements as well. You know, I just remember, like, loading infantry up into the mechanical tank, sending that into the front line, then unloading them, parachuting troops across, getting my bombers in, the fighters in. It felt like I was actually doing warfare, especially when it got to the modern era. It felt like a true modern war. Whereas in Civ 5, it doesn't feel real to me. So yeah, Civilization 3. What is your spirit animal? Now, this guy actually got it right, so you know what? I thought I might as well leave that up there as well. And the last one right here. What is your dream Total War game? My rules are it has to be historical. Not 100% accurate, like my favourite title is Rome 1. If they wanted to go outside of the historical a bit to create a more interesting game, I would be fine with that. No magic though, you know, I don't want to see magic, but, you know, if one faction is actually, you know, like Bronze Age Egypt, I won't really mind that. If Rome 3 released with a Bronze Age Egypt, I'd be happy with it. I would not mind at all. But yeah, still the overall theme of it must be historical. I want something that I can be hype about, that I can enjoy, that I know the developers are enjoying to make, that I know the YouTube community enjoys to watch content on it, and something that can leave me excited for the future. Like DLC, but actually good DLC that, you know, I can, you know, get excited about. And that's what I see in Warhammer. Like the fans, the YouTubers, when a new DLC is released, like people are going crazy out of for all of that. Legend hitting like record views on his streams every new DLC, stuff like that. That's what I want to see. Yeah, if people are excited and hype over DLC, that's how you know it's a good game. You don't get that in the other historicals there. There's something that they must not be doing right. Like with Rome 2, you did not get that at all. Whenever a new DLC was announced, often it would come with more hate than actual hype. So yeah, a good historical title that can really unite us all together, but can also keep us excited for 1 or 2 or maybe 3 years down the line. That is what I want. So yeah, anyway, that was the final question. I hope you enjoyed this little Q&A. I thought, you know what, 20,000 subscribers on the main channel, I thought I might as well do one, so yeah. There we go, it's done. The reason that I put it off for so long was because, you know, it's not going to get the views, but now I have this second channel, I can just upload it here, so it's all fine. I don't have to worry about the views here. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, hope to see you in the next one, but for now, goodbye.